has been quite the time for Digimon Beatbreak, the currently airing Digimon anime. Last Sunday, the week before this video, we got the new evolution of Geckomon, which I will be showing in this video. There are going to be spoilers for Beatbreak in this video, both what's happened and what's coming up, so there's your warning. Not that apparently Toei or Digimon care about spoilers, because before the episode even had subtitles, or most people had watched the episode outside of Japan, it was just in their thumbnail. It was just, here's the evolution, sorry. So listen, I know spoilers suck, but if I or someone else on YouTube puts the evolution in their thumbnail 2 days or a week later, you can't get mad at us when Toei's already doing it. What is up, digital companions? My name is Karn EX and welcome back to another Digimon Beatbreak video. And hey, two things this month. First of all, I never do an April Fool's video anymore. I just don't think it's that much fun. We live in an age of intense misinformation anyway. Deliberately contributing misinformation doesn't feel good to me. Second of all, this month I had to cancel on a sponsorship which I'd taken, but turned out I didn't agree with the values of the company that was wanting to pay me. I didn't want to hock that to you. So I'd really appreciate if you consider going over to patreon.com/Karn EX and supporting the channel. Right now I'm doing my not April Fool's Day sale. That means that all new patrons get 10% off their subscription when you use code CC4A8 at checkout. Do make sure you use that code. In addition to this, if you decide to go annual, you will get another 30% off. So if you decide to go an annual plan at, say, the Karn Club, you'll get 40% off and early access to all my videos plus some exclusive content. And to thank everyone that's already a patron and a channel member here on YouTube, I'm going to be doing a special stream this month, maybe opening some cards or something, or playing some games, and you might even be able to play some Digimon card game with me. That will be a Patreon and YouTube members only stream. So thank you, patreon.com/Karn EX. So yeah, Digimon Beatbreak debuted, well, technically two evolutions of the main cast last week. The major one was, of course, the reveal of Geckomon's ultimate level Digimon, Monarch Lizardmon, and this is a great Digimon. Personally, not a design that I am super geeked by on a visual level, but on a representation of the franchise level, I adore this. Obviously, we got the same writer as Digimon Data Squad, so you can see this as a callback to Rise Greymon. I do think it's fun that we have Rise and Shine Greymon. The sun themes going on there, and now we have Geckomon, who has much more of a moon theme, and his Monarch Lizardmon is kind of almost the moon half to Rise Greymon, but of course also continuing a trend that started with Metal Greymon into War Growlmon and beyond. A cyborg dinosaur ultimate Digimon. And yeah, this wasn't really that much of a surprise. I mean, it was pretty obvious that someone was going to be digivolving this episode anyway, but I think it was especially funny that all the official channels just spoiled it immediately, and it wasn't just Crunchyroll, Digimon did it too. I'm at the point now where just the design of a Digimon is not a spoiler to me, and I'll talk about that in a little bit. To me, it's more knowing a Digivolution happens means that I know a certain thing doesn't happen, or I know that a story peak has happened in the show. By knowing that Monarch Lizardmon was going to be in the episode before I even got a chance to watch it, I already know that, for example, and while of course it's very unlikely to happen, Tomoro didn't die this episode, or someone else didn't get any evolution. There is intrinsically a story beat that is spoiled for me, and this is the same problem we have that at Digimon Con, they revealed Abergele for the card game, the upcoming Digimon Beatbreak set, and confirmed that Abergele was going to show up in Beatbreak. It's a yellow card, part of the structure deck. Murasamemon and Kugamon are already confirmed to be yellow cards. We know this is Murasamimon's evolution, which kinda sucks because it means by knowing this character exists, we now have less stakes, in my opinion, for Kyo and Kugamon or Murasamemon. When Kyo got cold-hearted in last week's episode, we knew it couldn't be permanent because we already knew that Abergele existed. So I don't mind looking at the design of Abergele and knowing it exists ahead of time. What I do mind is that its existence and confirmation it's going to show up in Beatbreak confirms that, you know, character death isn't going to happen, or that something different isn't going to happen with the characters. Not that knowing about deaths is the be-all and end-all either, but it's a pretty big spoiler. The alternate side of this is things like the Gammamon Vital Bracelet, the BE dim card, where we got new evolutions for Gammamon that did not show up in Ghost Game. So you could go, well, Abergelemon's just a potential evolution for Murasamemon, but no, they confirmed it's going to be in Beatbreak. This spoiler culture that Digimon has is really funny because we have a fandom that really abhors spoilers, even the most minor things, and a brand that likes to just post them, especially as far as it goes to the anime. I will say Digimon Game Games is doing a lot better. Like, they took a while to add Hyokomon and Chronomon and stuff to the Digimon reference book and post about them, and they still haven't posted about Chronomon in its context in Time Stranger because, of course, the Switch version is coming out in July. But yeah, I was a little disappointed to see this all over socials and Digimon Con. There was actually 2 spoilers for Beatbreak in Digimon Con because an episode of Beatbreak aired just before Digimon Con, and that had some stuff with Kyo. But we have Monarch Lizardmon and Habakirimon. Habakirimon is a very straightforward inspiration, which I think is cool. Much like how Murasamemon gets its name from the Murasame, a famous sword in Japanese history and folklore, Habakiri is the sword used by the god Susanoo to kill the Yamata no Orochi serpent. Will we see Orochimon in Digimon Beatbreak? Very likely. Will we see Susanuomon? I don't know. But if it wasn't already clear, Digimon in Beatbreak have intrinsic connection to the new digital world Shambala. Habakirimon literally is the sword of Susanuomon, and in fact has lightened versions of Susanuomon's armor on it. Susanuomon, basically under Kunlun's tutelage, founded Shambala, is intrinsic to it, ergo the sword of Susanoo, Habakirimon, must be intrinsic too. And of course we already saw in Kugamon and Murasamemon's encyclopedia listings that they were connected to the Eastern digital world. Monarch Lizardmon I like. It's actually very surprising to me that they went this kind of way with it, even though you should kind of expect it given that that is kind of a trope for protagonist partner Digimon, but it feels very classic. I like the fact that it has these rockets on its back. It's a very like cool cyborg Digimon. It definitely evokes previous things like War Growlmon, like I say, and indeed Metal Greymon and Rise Greymon. But something that I think is really important is they fully bring back the moon on its head that was missing from Armor Lizardmon. But of course the moon theming is there for Kekomon and Gekomon. I don't think this is a coincidence. If we look at Armor Lizardmon, its design, while of course an armored lizard, also, especially from the front, really evokes samurai armor with the way that its spikes and stuff go. And now looking at Monarch Lizardmon, the way the moon is admittedly facing forward really to me evokes certain samurai armor of the Edo period. And I don't think it's unintentional at all. Of course, one of the prevailing theories from very early on with Gekomon, his moon theming being framed by the moon in the first episode, was that it would eventually become Tsukiyomimon. Tsukiyomi is the moon god in Japanese mythology and Shinto, and was the sibling, sometimes partner, of gods like Amaterasu and Susanoo. Amaterasumon, of course, is also a Shambala Digimon from the V-Pets. It's now showing up in New Century, which is cool. And we already have Habakirimon, which is basically kind of forged from some of the power of Susanuomon, it seems. It would make a ton of sense if Gekomon, now getting this very moon-themed samurai vibe, even Gekomon saying that it likes samurai movies, to end up as Tsukiyomi, a god of the moon. And while Tsukiyomi doesn't have any like direct links with the concept of samurai, of course Edo period samurai having moons on their helmets would create some link to a moon god. And in pop culture it's not uncommon to see Tsukiyomi and samurai kind of merged visually, though it's possible we don't get a direct Tsukiyomi Gekomon evolution, but could instead take inspiration from Date Masamune, who also famously had a very big moon shape on his helmet, and especially when you see it in pop culture and things like that, like in the Sengoku Basara series, and whose nickname was the Doku Ganryu, aka the one-eyed dragon of Oshu. Could we see Gekomon through its evolution gain an eye patch, or maybe even lose an eye and become Masamunemon? But still, that kind of history and connection of samurai, one-eyed dragon, Gekomon's definitely kind of transitioning from a lizard to a dragon in many ways, and the fact that its ultimate level is called Monarch Lizardmon. It's a monarch, and Date Masamune was a samurai and daimyo during that same Edo period, a powerful feudal lord. That would be a good successor, I think, from Monarch Lizardmon. However, also equally, while a monarch to a daimyo is good, I do also think that a monarch to a god in Tsukiyomi is still incredibly viable. And let's not forget, a Digimon doesn't have to have one inspiration. Just because a Digimon gets the namesake of one mythological or historical character doesn't mean that they can't be inspired by other stuff. So Gekomon's Mega could be inspired by Tsukiyomi and Date Masamune. There are plenty of things that cross over. We did also this week get a little look at what is coming next for Digimon Beatbreak. Currently, today's episode and the next 2 episodes are something of a filler arc. Not filler in the way that, of course, they're adapting from a manga, so they're trying to make up new stories to fill the time, but more a padding, I guess you could say, before the next arc starts, as the end of the Tactics arc was so impactful, with the defeat of Clay Arslan, Raito, Hotaruko, and Granite all leaving Tactics, and of course Gekomon, Armor Lizamon becoming Monarch Lizamon. So for the next 3 episodes, we're expecting some pretty interesting stuff, which really keeps our Digimon Liberator connections going. And of course, this week's episode featured Petermon and Starmon. Next week's episode is going to feature Haruomi, Commandramon, and Elizamon. That is huge. Elizamon is now another prominent Liberator Digimon getting animated in Beatbreak, and we already saw with Clay's partner that it was the evolution line specifically from Liberator. Sonorizamon to Landramon to Preganomon and then Pyramidamon, those last 3 all being animated for the first time. So will we see Elizamon's full evolution line in this one episode? Possibly not, but we might at least see Demetramon, or maybe even a warp to Medusamon. I'm not putting a tinfoil hat on here, but it does seem interesting that they're kind of like building up animation reference and things for specifically Liberator Digimon so soon after Liberator came out. Maybe they are gearing up to some kind of Digimon Liberator anime in the future, and because they've already created, like I say, animation and posing reference for some Liberator Digimon, it'll be easier to work on them next time. Much like how Beatbreak has been using a lot of Digimon that already got animated in Ghost Game. And speaking of returning from Ghost Game and 02 and a bunch of other stuff, Mummymon is going to be in the episode on the 19th of April, alongside Hitomi, who of course was the first person we saw get cold-hearted in Beatbreak that Tomoro saved. Is Mummymon going to be her Digimon partner? I don't know. Let's find out. But also of interest this week is that they actually did show off what the next arc is going to be. I kind of thought they were going to use the Encore arc as a bit of padding before they revealed what the next arc would be, but no, we're starting already. Here we have this post from Toei Animation EU, which says, "The Warped World, the Holy Egg, Digimon Beatbreak, a new chapter begins, the Gift Arc, April 26th, 2026. We see in this key art a child that I've not seen before. Some people thought this might have been young Kyo, but we've already seen young Kyo. That's definitely not him. In this kind of like ocean background, holding an egg in the water, which has Tomoro and Geckomon in it. Who is this? Is this a giant or is this just a normal sized kid? Weirdly, the visuals remind me a little bit of the initial poster for Digimon Adventure 02, the beginning. So maybe this is the first kid to ever get partnered with a Digimon in this world. And the fact that they're talking about the Warped World and the Holy Egg, I'm getting Digital World arc vibes from this. Maybe this person is in the digital world. Maybe the Warped World is Shambala, the digital world of the East. And the Holy Egg, well, of course, we've already got things like the Sapotama and the Shangri-La egg. Maybe all this egg imagery is evocative of some other kind of egg, the original egg that created Digimon in the world. Also, across their English and Japanese social media posts, the word gift is in all capitals. It is stylized, implying that it is some kind of organization, or at least acronym initialization of some form, rather than just being an arc about giving gifts, if that makes sense. Maybe the gift given, again with this strange looking person with an amulet which kind of looks egg-shaped around their neck too. They gave the gift, or they are part of gift. Is gift something inside of World Union, perhaps? I mean, they have got a kind of egg-like logo. Maybe gift is their thing that we saw in the intro of Beatbreak, where they put whatever it is that resonates with the Sapotama into the hands of children. Plus, in last week's episode, we did see a Dr. Tenma, probably related to Tomoro, perhaps. Dr. Tenma started experiments on this kid and Tomoro in the egg, setting off the events of what's happening in Beatbreak. I'm already seeing people hypothesizing this is Yujin from Appmon. I mean, I guess it could be, but just having a similar haircut, not the same hair color by the way, any more than this same haircut makes them the young version of Samuel Oak from the Pokemon Celebi movie. But as confirmed by a magazine interview and the new interlude arc ED, I'm not sure if this is the ED just for the interlude arc or for the entire arc going forward, this new character is absolutely a girl, and in fact the entire ED focuses on girls and women. Some returning characters we've seen before, very cool to see Haruko and Shademon, also of course Rose and Honoka, plus some new characters. Like I say, there is this new girl who at one point in the ED seems to have some kind of ghost hand, like reassure her and then it disappears. I'm so curious what her deal is. And 2 new characters, which are giving me very Sailor Uranus and Sailor Neptune vibes, if you will. Plus we're seeing, I believe, the anime debut of Auroramon, the Palmon variant, and Pomimon, again a returning Digimon that has been animated recently in Adventure 2020. I do really like this interlude arc has not just been padding. We even see the Glowing Dawn lose their bounty from catching Clay to kind of set them back. So even though it is a padding arc, it's still kind of driving the plot forward, which I love. And if you like Digimon Beatbreak as much as I do, or just want Digimon to be seen more on more platforms, Crunchyroll is having their yearly anime awards. I think this is the 10th anniversary, and Digimon Beatbreak is nominated in one category, that being Best Original Anime. It is the only category Digimon Beatbreak is nominated in, so we have to vote for it as Digimon fans in Best Original Anime. I am a little bit heated that Mad Pulse didn't get to be in the Best Anime Song category or Best Opening, but what can you do? Link is in the description. But that's it for now, my Digimon Beatbreak update. I'm not planning to do another Beatbreak video until the next arc starts, unless we get a new evolution or something during the course of the mini arc, I guess. But of course, we've got a lot of content coming. I think next week's going to be a video on Digimon Story Time Stranger. Thank you to my Sovereign, ZDK14, Chaotic Prophet, Lupus Lichlord, and Jeremy Babino over on patreon.com/Karn EX. Appreciate all of you on Patreon right now. Like I say, I lost a pretty substantial sponsor this month, and I'm offering 10% off for all new signups and 30% off if you sign up annually. So if you did want to support the channel, keep the lights on. Like literally, Patreon is one of the main ways I pay my bills these days because of fluctuating ad rates on YouTube, not always being able to take sponsors for my own morals. So patrons and YouTube channel members, I really do appreciate you. Thank you so much to my YouTube channel members too. You guys are holding it down, and I'll see you next time when we go digital. Bye bye.